Here's a video for the skill roll that we've been working on, and I want to talk about the outside mechanics, especially the handles. On these handles, you'll notice that they're pretty unique. They have a security screw on them. It's called a Gullmite security screw. Kind of hard to find this driver to take this out, but you need a number 10 Gullmite driver. It's just a normally threaded bolt, so if you don't have the actual screw, you can just use a standard machine thread. I can't remember if that's, I think it's a 1032 or an 832 thread. But on this particular machine, I do have one handle that is missing that security screw. It's also missing the snap ring that goes behind there and prevents the in and out movement of the handle. So for example, if we take one that has the snap ring, so you can't really push the handle in anymore. But if it's missing that snap ring, you'll have a problem that when the lever's depressed and you push it in, you can actually get your lever jammed. So right now, that small arm that is normally in front of the playfield to flick the coin, without that snap ring, you can actually get it to butt into the edge of the playfield. As an example of an original shaft, we can see that snap ring groove up here. That's what that one handle's missing. The handle, you can see the thread in there. The handle has two interior teeth that mate with that to lock these two pieces so that they rotate against each other. And then there's another flicker piece that goes inside that the round keyway there that has two flats cut into it engages in that inner flicker arm. And then on this particular machine, it's kind of doing a before and after for our cleaning to see how much of a difference it actually makes. I doubt this game's ever been apart and cleaned. It was in a bar up until this year being operated. It barely worked, but it was still technically being operated. We're going to drop a coin in. On skill rolls, there should be a coin lockout relay, the coin mech's in here, that should prevent you from dropping a coin in when the game's powered off. This particular game still has its coil, but it's missing its arm that prevents that. So in this particular machine, you can actually drop a coin when it's off, but that's not normal behavior. Now if we just flick a couple, you can kind of tell how dirty this thing is. I'm surprised that one went all the way. Like that was full strength. I'm just going to give them a bunch of full strength blows and see what happens. On a well-maintained and clean game, you should be able to make this nickel fly and to actually hit the higher point shots. You need to have some finesse. This particular 70 shot, I remember playing this on location. This 70 shot is set up pretty darn difficult on this particular machine. So again, I'll drop a couple. I'll try to hit the 50s this time, if it's possible on some of these. Oh, barely made that one. It was actually not too awful on some. That was pretty bad. And then one more try on this really tough 70. That's how you do it. I don't know if I got that on video, but it's down there now. We'll see if I can hit this 80. Jackpot. Right in the gobble hole. For taking the playfield apart, this front piece of glass, you can take these two carriage bolts out. There's a wing nut on the inside that you can take off, and then this whole top piece comes off, and then this glass needs to slide up. When you're doing that, kind of keep in mind that the machine is about 5.5 feet tall, but this piece of glass is going to also be 3 feet tall, so you need some good clearance and sealing room to get that out without breaking something. Once you get that out, you can actually get to the playfield. It has a piece of clear plexi over it, and if you kind of look at the holes, you can see the scoring holes where that plexi is. So when you drop your nickel, the nickel's in front of the wooden playfield that has all the art on it, and then it's behind the plexiglass. So it's trapped as you're playing the game. and that inside flicker arm is sandwiched between the Playfield and the plastic. These metal guides here, I should say the guides are metal, and they have little nails or pins that center them on the Playfield. I'll have to take this apart. There's a bunch of screws that mount the plexi through the rails and into the wood. You can get those apart, clean it up. Might have to use some magic eraser and then wax everything and put it back together and see what kind of shape it's in. Also, when I take this out, I'm going to focus on getting all the shooters cleaned up. We've talked about the handle part. There's a kind of a finish washer that has an indicator for your pointer of how much power you're flicking with. You can pound these out from the inside to get those nails out. These are all spiral nails that hold on all the trim pieces. And then back here is the barrel, or the female part of the shooter assembly, and this is actually mounted to a rail inside the game, and we'll talk more about that too. But you can kind of get a good idea if you're inspecting one of these. Like this barrel is a little loose. It'll still work, but that kind of indicates that there's been some corrosion and some buildup between those two parts. That barrel's loose too. That back piece is starting to move. All the handles on this game are free, but they've kind of gotten a little rough over the years. Again, it'll still work. It's just kind of checking out the health of the machine. Those will seem a lot better. These barrels are pressed into a thin stock of metal in the back. But we can show more pictures of that once we get everything pulled apart and cleaned up.